Hey guys, this has been a very requested video on how to color manga on Ibis Paint. I usually color on Procreate, but I decided to download Ibis Paint and give it a try. So I'm gonna run you through a little tutorial as well as the pros and cons, and we're gonna compare both and see which one is more suited for you. So let's get right into it. We're gonna start with Ibis Paint, since it's going to be a new experience for me. And then we will compare with Procreate. When you click the plus sign on the top right, you get many different sizes for your canvas, including a Twitter header, which is pretty cool and Procreate does not have that. However, I'm going to import a picture because we're going to focus on manga coloring and not drawing. So the first visual, there are ads on the top part of the app, which for me automatically is a downside of the app. If you buy it, you won't get the ads. But if you do buy a software, I will lean more towards Procreate, but that's just my opinion. Then there's a bigger menu on the left, kind of resembling Photoshop's taskbar. In Ibis Paint, there is a magic wand and a lasso to select any area of the artwork, which Procreate does not have. That may be helpful for coloring selected areas, but it doesn't usually work with manga colorings since the quality is a bit bad and there are a lot of pixels around the line art. The layer menu is a bit overwhelming in my opinion. It displays this large box and it looks kind of like old Windows. As I mentioned in my previous tutorial for manga coloring, make sure you change the blending mode from normal to multiply, so that the white parts become transparent and the black parts remain black. Now create a new layer and drag it underneath the line art to start coloring. The color wheel is a bit extra, whereas in Procreate you have the option to select which color wheel you prefer visually, instead of all in one like here. I will get a color similar to Luffy's skin color and now select my brush. There are so many brush options, and on the right side it lets you change the tip and blending, which is a little simpler to understand for beginners than it is in Procreate. To save brushes that you use mainly, click the plus sign and it will add it to your custom brushes. I tried using the bucket tool, but like I said, manga pages often are low quality, so it will leave some white pixels around the line art. It works to fill in a large area and then just clean up with the brush though. Oh, and yeah, if this is your first time using Ibis Paint like me, you will get multiple pop-up messages to kind of guide you through. It can be helpful, but I get kinda impatient at times. Another cool thing is that you actually see where your brush is, with that tiny gray circle following your pen. In Procreate, it's like a piece of paper. Only you know where to trace and trust the sensitivity of your pen. I will also say it may be very slight, but the sensitivity is kind of weird in Ibis Paint. It feels a lot smoother to color in Procreate, but that is just my own experience. With that same brush and a darker color, I'm coloring around the edges of the face to create a shadow. Now create a new layer above the manga page to add some details over the black parts, like a gray tone to make some highlights on Luffy's hair. And we keep getting the pop-up messages. Now we will color Luffy's robe red, and for that we will have to color it all above the black, and then do our own line art, so it gets trickier here. Now I will run side by side both Procreate and Ibis Paint to see the differences. I clearly did them differently because I am human and I could not replicate both the exact same way, but I did feel I struggled more with Ibis doing the line art. Maybe I'm just not too familiar with the brushes yet, however both versions look good enough. will add another layer above all and select the blending mode add to make some highlights on the clothes we just colored. Side by side, having the same blending mode and using the same technique, it seems kind of dull on Ivy's version, whereas in Procreate version, it looks smoother and blends better with the clothes. Also, little side note, Ivy's Paint does not allow you to make straight lines by pressing down the pen, like in Procreate, which is a bit stressful since that can come in handy when drawing panels. I use the Magic Wand tool to shade the arm and not color outside of the lines, but it kind of does not seem to help blending everything together. Again, I might be using the wrong brush, but the shading looks harsh, whereas in Procreate it all blends smoothly. Unselecting the wand was a pain though. It took me a while to see the top right square selection button where it tells you to unselect the area. I'm going to stop right here because the rest of the steps are the same. When I try to save it, I get some weird ad pops up. Then you can save it to your device or share it. And you can also view the time-lapse process, same as in Procreate. It also tells you on the bottom right the amount of time you spent on that drawing or coloring. It took me 1 hour and 5 minutes coloring that amount. Procreate does not show you how much time you spent in a drawing though. Exporting the time-lapse video took a while though, and shows the selected parts from the one in the process, whereas in Procreate you just see the colors magically and smoothly fill in your artwork. So while we watch the rest of the time-lapse made in Procreate, which is my preferred app, I will give a brief review on my experience using Ivy's Paint for the first time. So I will start with the cons. First of all, it contains obviously ads. Also, there are some brushes that are locked, and you may unlock those brushes by watching an ad. However, this ad reappears after 18 hours, so basically you will have to watch a 20-second ad every day, which is no big deal really. It has very saturated menus, which makes the workplace messy and distracting. If you compare how the tools are arranged in Procreate, you will see the big difference. Also, I read about this because I have not tried using the app offline, but it seems it requires internet connection to work properly. Some reviews of other people have said that the app crashes a lot if you do not have good connection. Procreate, on the other hand, can be used completely offline and works perfectly fine. But there are obviously some pros to the app. First of all, it's free to use, compared to Procreate where there is no free alternative. But it only costs $9.99 and it's only one payment. You do not have to pay monthly or yearly for it. What I loved about Ivy's Paint is that there is a Magic Wand tool to select specific parts of the artwork to color just within that area and not outside of the lines. Another cool thing is that there's a bucket tool to fill in the spots. Unlike Procreate where you have to drag the color and it requires a lot more precision. I tend to fill in the liner multiple times when I try to fill in a tiny area. I really hope you found this tutorial helpful. I personally prefer Procreate over Ivy's Paint, but this is just because of my experience. So everything depends on your experience, on what you feel more comfortable with, if you want to pay extra or if you want a free software. So maybe some people prefer Procreate over Ivy's Paint or the other way around, or maybe there's other softwares that we didn't even mention that you guys prefer. Definitely let me know in the comments if there's other softwares that you usually use. Yeah, it's just a matter of experience, of user experience and how you feel more comfortable with. So let me know in the comments if there's anything else you'd like to see in the future. And yeah, thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you on the next one.